right. So thank you everybody for joining us this morning. My name, for anybody that doesn't know me, is Nikki Cabus. I'm the VP of Development at Palm Beach Tech, which now we actually, as of just last week, we had our 5th year anniversary celebration, and now we're rebranding, and the new name is South Florida Tech, so formerly known as Palm Beach Tech. Yes, Lido, very exciting. We've been working hard on that for the past year, and very happy to say now we have a lot more members, partners. A lot of the different schools that we're working with now are from Martin County to Miami, so it's definitely a big thing for us. And you know, like we were just talking kind of before this, was that, you know, now I feel like we can offer a lot more content, a lot more resources to people as we do expand and grow. So I did want to just kind of give everybody a little brief overview of what we do at Palm Beach Tech for anybody that's not familiar. Basically, we are a tech nonprofit. Like I was saying, we just had our anniversary, so we just turned 5 years old. And we started as an organization. We're still based in downtown West Palm, but started as a Palm Beach County-wide organization. So, you know, we work a lot primarily with headquartered companies that are here, with the tech talent that's in South Florida, also trying to attract talent and new businesses to the area. And then a lot of the colleges, universities, coding schools. We do a lot of joint partnership events as well, like different chambers, different other meetup groups, or other nonprofits. We actually just recently had an event, I think it was Tuesday this week, and last week with SIM, Society for Information Management. So we do try to use our partnerships and bring the best resources and content that we can to our members. But I do want to hand this over to Allie. Allie is actually our summer talent intern, who she is responsible for all of this, the whole series. She's done a great job with this. So I want to give her a chance to kind of explain what the series is, and for anybody that hasn't been able to see the previous ones, kind of where they can find that and get that information.
Thanks, Nick. First, I just want to give our partners the opportunity to say a few words. So Tony with the Palm Beach County School District, if you have anything.
Thanks, Allie, and thanks, Nikki. Yeah, gosh, I can't believe this is event number 5 already. This joint partnership we have with the group formerly known as Palm Beach Tech. Congratulations on that as well. Yeah, look, this has been a great 5 weeks, and you know, for a lot of our teachers to be able to hear from experts outside of the school district about all these great topics has been really paramount in helping us getting ready for this challenging school year ahead of us. Today's event, I think, is the perfect culmination to these 5 workshops that we've had discussing work-based learning, but from a different vantage point, from the vantage point of companies, not just teachers, and how to prepare students for the workplace, but what our business partners think work-based learning should look like. And the hope is that this is really going to help our teachers and our students be better prepared for those opportunities, and know what those opportunities are and what they look like, you know, and how business and high schools can work with each other to make sure that our students graduate with the skills that they need to take their place in our society and in our workforce. So appreciate you having us and doing this for us today, and looking forward to another great event.
Thank you, Tony. We also have Lido from Path to College.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations, South Florida Tech, on the 5-year anniversary and the name change. Very excited for the things to come for you all. Likewise, we're very happy with this collaboration, and very excited to have our students and mentors learn a little bit more about what are some of the best practices they can be implementing in their lives in terms of work and at-home distance learning. So thank you very much. And yeah, we as Path to College are just a local nonprofit that helps low-income, high-achieving students in Palm Beach County, and we are accepting applications till September 25th for this upcoming academic school year. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lido. If you could drop your link in the chat, I think that would be great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool, thank you. All right, I just want to thank everyone who's joined us today and joined us for any of the summer series events. We've had such great turnouts, and it's been a lot of fun. I also want to say thank you to our partners. Without you, would not have been possible. And thank you to all of our amazing speakers. It's been great knowledge and great fun. So just a little background. In 2018, Code Palm Beach was established as Palm Beach Tech's effort to introduce K-12 students to computer coding and technology. Our mission to build South Florida into a tech hub includes our next generation of techies. The summer webinar series is geared towards current high school students, those who have recently graduated, and their teachers. We not only want to expose children to STEM at an early age, but help nurture and support the love of STEM by keeping them engaged through high school and into college. During our webinar today, Work-Based Learning, we will hear from the point of view of the company, what they expect students to learn, why work-based learning is so important, and the different opportunities available to students. Our speakers this morning are Ann Savage, founder and CEO of PATHOS, Randall Deich, Chief Networking Officer at Regenerate Tech, Natasha Menon, IT Intern Ambassador and Tech Lead at FPL, and Luke Williams, Director of the Fischler Academy at NSU. I can turn it back over to Nikki to get us started.
Sure, thank you, Allie. So how I'd like to actually start before we actually get into the discussion and Q&A is if I could have each of the speakers, if you'd like to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and of course your role there. And then from there, we'll kind of go into the Q&A.
Okay, I can start.
Ann.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ann Savage, and I, as Nikki said, I'm CEO and founder of PATHOS. We are a creative intelligence firm. We are also celebrating an anniversary this year, 30 years in Palm Beach County. And we provide, in the marketing space, advisory and consulting services for our clients. So we really operate at the C-suite level, but then also in addition to consulting, we carry through to implementation with the full suite of marketing, branding, digital capabilities. Some of our clients that we work with locally are Tenet hospitals, Palm Beach outlets, and then their sister outlets in other markets throughout the country, Ocean Properties, which is a hotel management and ownership group, and then a host of others, the Community Foundation of Palm Beach County, that's another client. So really a very diverse group of clients. We don't focus on any one industry. And yeah, that's a bit about us.
Thank you, Ann. I've got Luke next on my screen.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Luke Williams. I'm the director of the Fischler Academy at NSU, Florida. Our program is the premier program at the university for people interested, students interested in becoming professional educators. We have continued to expand as a program, offering now 9 different majors. And one of the exciting majors that we offer is our computer science education, which is actually functions as a double major in information technology and education. So we're really excited to be able to welcome actually our first cohort of students with that really distinct passion and interest in working in what I'm sure we're all seeing now is an incredibly booming ed tech industry that is not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm sure as you all know as well. Within the program, I'm able to work closely with the students, and I'm really excited actually to talk about some of these topics from the perspective of someone who is a former teacher working in teacher education itself, and seeing how a lot of these concepts, whether it be active learning, experientially driven learning, work-based learning, how this is really trending education, I think, as a whole in the right direction in whatever form it takes. So just want to thank you once again for welcoming me here, and looking forward to the panel discussion.
Thank you, Luke. I've got next on my screen, Randy.
Hi. Good morning, and thank you for the invite. I am beginning my 29th year as a school teacher in Broward County, having taught at all levels and currently been working at the high school level for the past 8 years. But I'm also the founder and chief networking officer of Regenerate Tech. And this is a nonprofit foundation whose goal is to address the disconnection of our high school students and provide them with entry-level skills for employment in industry. And we do that by partnering with industry employees. So we've had this program running for 6 years. where we've had a model where students would work with us from 9th grade through 12th grade with our Oracle volunteers. And we've started up a partnership with the Citrix volunteers and on coaching as well. And joining me today that would hopefully share their experiences is Alyssa Harris. She's one of our students who's now at University of Central Florida. And she went through the program for 4 years. And we have a current senior right now, Shamara Spence, who started last year and has been a rock star since participating. So thanks again for inviting me, and looking forward to meeting everyone.
Thank you, Randy. And I really do appreciate you too inviting some of the students to get the students' point of view also. I will make sure, so be ready guys, to call on them throughout this to get their opinion as well. And last but not least, Natasha.
Hi, thanks, Nikki. I'm Natasha Menon. I work for a Fortune 200 company here in Juno Beach, FPL. We're one of the largest producers of clean and renewable energy in the world. I am a change management lead, and in my role for quite a few years now, I've managed the IT intern program in partnership with our college relations team. There might be a representative from that team on the phone today. Anyone here from our college relations team? I'm not sure if they made it on. Today's kind of a big day for them. So we are super excited to share kind of our knowledge on having, really large scale intern programs and work-based learning programs. So thanks for inviting us.
Of course, thank you, Natasha. And I know we actually, our board of directors, our chair is actually Michael Fowler, which is the CIO at FPL Nextera. And yeah, I mean, I remember actually when I started Palm Beach Tech a little over a year ago, it was my very first week. I actually went to, I don't know what you guys call them. It's like the presentations, I guess, the interns make there in the department. And it was actually really, really eye-opening. It was really cool. And a lot of the students had some, superbly awesome and smart ideas. I was actually very taken back by that. And I do think you guys have a great program there. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that throughout this morning. I wanted to start out just by asking the question for anybody that doesn't know on the call today, if each of you could kind of give your opinion on what's the difference between work-based learning and project-based learning, just so that people have an understanding of the two.
You want to just dive in?
Yeah, anybody who'd like to start is fine.
Okay. Well, I really think that at the core of work-based learning is really the experiential aspect of it. It's the opportunities to participate in a real world business scenarios, expanding upon everything that you're learning in the classroom. I think there's a big difference between what you're learning on theory versus putting it into practice. And we hear that a lot from the kids that we bring through our organization in the different ways that we do this type of outreach. And that's always one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we receive, that it's just kind of a whole different perspective to what they were expecting. And so it's just it gives that well-rounded aspect to their education.
I agree.
I want to add, and I think Anne just nailed it, is the theory into practice gap that exists, which is why when we're looking at our workforce learning, it's driven by our volunteers that are in the industry. Because if it was driven by me as the teacher, I would just have this knowledge gap that fill in, but it wouldn't have the habit of mind of the application, on how to work with this. It's working in a bubble if it's just knowledge based. So our industry professionals fills in that gap with authentic experiences and goes through an actual process, of their habit of mind, where they're customer driven and going through consultancy processes and feedback loops and project management. So it's the entire experience, you know. So in our model, it's project-based in the sense that we bring in the customer's needs and the full work experience of an employee.
Yeah, for us, it's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, please, you.
No, for us, definitely come up with a tangible project, but they are fully embedded in those work assignments. And, you know, like you had mentioned, they're learning to work with customers, learning to work as a part of a team. They actually have something they must deliver at the end of their internship, which is typically 8 weeks or longer. And they really learn everything from learning how to manage calendars and find opportunities to meet with people, to learning new tools and skill sets to deliver on their projects, and everything in between. So it's a great experience. They build upon what they learn in the classroom, and they really start to understand that real life application of those skills is totally different than hands-on learning. So we provide that hands-on learning experience.
And thank you. I in terms of going back to the question, I'm thinking of the differences, you know, between project-based versus work-based learning. And I don't think there's such a dramatic distinction between the two if you're doing project-based learning right, because it is really going back to what, you know, the other panelists have mentioned. It is that integration of skills and application of skills. And I think probably I'd be willing to venture that all of us on the panel, and probably most people who are here today, can attest to feeling maybe at some point in time as a K through 12 student, a disconnect between the things that they were learning, these sort of individualized skill sets that never really allowed me, at least, you know, growing up, to kind of see the forest for the trees, the systems-based thinking, and as a kind of tech, you know, group and company, and everybody who works in the tech industry, it's refreshing to see more of the mentality of the tech industry starting to influence education and say, hey, wait a second, everything we do is application based. You know, reading something that's theoretical that relates to computers or tech, for me, forget about it. I'm going to be really lost. And so I think a lot of that hands-on, you know, practical, active learning approach is huge. And so when I think of the two, I really think of work-based learning as not necessarily separate from project-based learning. Those can be, you know, interchangeable, and maybe one exists within the other. And so yeah, those are just my thoughts about it.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, and I think, you know, kind of to what you were saying is that I think a lot of times they can go very hand in hand, even just with what Natasha was saying, you know, FPL, is that it's work-based learning because they're there and they're working with the staff, but they're also physically giving them a project to work on, you know, while they're there during the internship. And, you know, kind of going back to what Randy was saying also is that I know even for, like, for instance, Allie, sorry, Allie, to pick on you, but to use her when she came in, you know, to work with us for her internship, there's a lot of things that you learn in a classroom setting and through a project, and you can learn those skills to a certain point. But I think once you take them and you put them in a work setting with employees versus in a project that you may be working on, like with other students that you're used to working with, now I think it kind of opens it up to not only just the technical skills themselves, but having to actually communicate with other people, deal with different personalities, you know, and you know, Randy was saying kind of that gap of actually being in a workplace setting, and the teachers may not have all of the knowledge of like what being in that type of career setting may look like, and that gives the student the actual opportunity to do so. So I think you guys all had some great points there, and appreciate that as well. One question I did have was, you know, with the teachers taking it from a project-based setting in the classroom and trying to open up the students to more, you know, work-based learning opportunities, what are some of the ways that the teachers can actually prepare the students to do that?
Okay. You know, it's interesting to me, and this is where I kind of pose this to some of the teachers here, because I don't have a full grasp on how much the teachers are involved with setting up the internships actually for the students. A lot of the interns that come to us, even high schoolers, because we have started really working with high school interns as well, are doing it on their own. So when I saw this question that you wanted to pose today, I really wasn't sure how much the teachers are engaged. But assuming that they are, I think that really encouraging, the biggest thing that I think is going to drive success for an internship is for the kids to really be engaged and to open up that they are going to take everything from the experience. We've had interns where the kids just show up and they're just not that. And it's too bad, because they really will get out of it what they put into it. And in today's world and moving to the next level in college applications, it's really important just to have this type of experience on your resume already as a high schooler. So I think anything that the teachers can do to instruct the students on how to engage in this, to really understand, if they can beforehand, what the expectations are. I know, Natasha, you were talking about really having it's really important that it's a very defined program. For us as an organization, for it to be successful, we have a big role in this too, and make sure that we have something that's very planned, a curriculum or a project, very defined, not just, shadowing and watching us do work. They have to be engaged. So it's really on both sides. So I think to the extent that a teacher can facilitate, maybe from the company side, what they're going to do and what their expectations are of the students, what the objectives are for what their work is going to be, that they can facilitate to make sure that that is in good order. And then for the students to understand that and be really on board to just dive in, and what a wonderful opportunity it is for them.
So having worked with interns for a very large part of my career, I think one of the things that are really great for them to just come to any internship with, that teachers can help with on a daily basis, is just teaching them general business acumen. Maybe doing something like a business case study where they learn to think about things in different ways, learn to think about the business value of something, maybe enabling them to have access to tools that are not available on campus, things that could supplement their learning and skill set, like, online coding classes, things like that, if they're an IT major, for example, or even Agile classes, because you don't really learn things like Agile methodologies in a classroom. But if you're going into an IT environment that is Agile, it's great to have a little bit of foundational knowledge about that. So sometimes it's not so much learning a skill for your internship as much as it is learning about business in general. So a couple of thoughts on that.
I would say, what comes to mind in terms of skill sets would, in an odd twist of fate, what I think's happened what happened the last few months of the school year. And I know this from firsthand experience with my wife teaching at the middle school level, the executive function of students, being able to, not necessarily having that teacher who's going to remind you X amount of times per day and be there in the classroom with you on a daily basis, that you have to check your email, that you have to stay on top of things. So what, I saw unfold was, a bit of that process, especially with 8th graders. And I taught 8th graders for 10 years. So I definitely know that those students who develop the executive function and those skills and that sort of gumption to be able to wake up, know, okay, I need to check my Outlook calendar. And in fact, a lot of our students who come in who are very successful, they're coming in already with, that sort of mindset of, how do I organize my life, kind of take care of things one step at a time. And so I would say for teachers, and this can be difficult too, and I know from experience, is putting more of that responsibility on the students. And I know there's a lot of amazing teachers probably present here as well, who would say, that maybe, they should be putting a little bit more of that responsibility on the students as well. And although that can be challenging, I think in the long run, it benefits the students the most for preparation.
And I think as a challenge for the teacher is finding ways to establish a partnership with our industry professionals. Because if we can't have, I mean, the reality, the teacher's targets, during the workday is completely different. They're focused on a grade, and depending on administration, their focus might be on passing a certification test, not so much of keeping up with what industry is doing. I can't speak to any partner where they can't talk, where every one of them brings up machine learning, but our school system isn't designed yet to offer any instruction with machine learning. So our teachers need to find, some give and take of what their role is, that they may not be the content area experts in work-based learning, that they can provide support in pedagogy, they can provide support in public speaking, they can provide support in some working with groups and things like this. But when it comes for workforce, it was a huge gap that of what they're expected to do on the job that's a deliverable for the school compared to what's in the best interest for the students sometimes.
That's a really good point, Randy. And actually, I wanted to see if you could take a moment, because obviously you're currently a teacher yourself, but also have Regenerate Tech, which is, I think, trying to bridge that gap of what you're talking about. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you started Regenerate, or, kind of that gap that you saw, and why that was needed, your organization now?
Okay. It started when I moved into a high-need school, high-need high school, where there was disconnection of post-secondary life and a need for computer science. And like what I normally have always done was I go and I took training by Oracle. And at the end of the event, I passed the class, but I was only able to provide the same experiences that I had as a student, the same 4 or 5 activities that we did. Realizing that wasn't going to help my students. So that's when I brought in our external partners, and was fortunate to meet a programmer and a SQL guru that works at Oracle, who has a passion for working with students and wanted to break the poverty chain of our kids. And that started of the realization of the value of a partnership for someone who's a student advocate like myself, and an industry that is currently active in trying to fill seats. We've mentioned, as mentioned earlier, it's not just a boom in technology, it's growing twice as fast as every other industry. And one of the great things are the outcomes. And I believe, Tony, you mentioned this right before we started, was that we're skilling students and they're leaving in other states, they're leaving South Florida. Our model is about relationships. So it's not like a boot camp experience. So during the course of the time, it's a cadre of students who work with a group of professionals from an organization, where acculturation is the focus, developing relationships is the focus. And while they may not leave, they may not hire after high school or continue, but that bond is formed. And that's what, Alyssa can speak about that. She went through 4 years being mentored by Oracle employees, and now she's currently she is starting her 2nd year of college, but she has, credit-wise, she's going to be a junior. And, I think that's our big win as Regenerate, is to not just skill our students, but form relationships with our partners in South Florida.
Yeah, I agree. Very good point there, Randy. And I was thinking, I did want to ask, so we had, in some of your comments, we've mentioned internships. You just mentioned like mentorships. Like, can each of you kind of give me an idea for everybody here that's listening in, is like, what types of opportunities are available, or what types of opportunities do you have experience with yourself? Because I think the main thing that everybody thinks of is, oh, people have to, students have to wait until they hit college and they'll get an internship. And that's really the main thing I think people associate with this type of like work-based learning opportunities. But what other types of opportunities are there out there for the students?
So we do a bunch of different programs that beyond the internship experience, really, and they really vary, I guess, somewhat in the length of time that we're engaging with the students. So we invite classes to come in and spend just a few hours with us and do kind of an office field trip and a tour. And in those scenarios, even though it's a short amount of time and it's often, a class, so 20 to 30 students, we will set up what we call immersion stations throughout the office and break the group up into smaller groups, and really still try to get the students to be doing something at each of those immersion stations throughout the office. We also do shadow days where we invite probably 3 to 4 students to come spend the entire day with us, and we match them up one-on-one with somebody else in the office. And again, so they can kind of go through the day and, follow that mentor for the day, and really an opportunity for them to ask a lot of questions. And again, we still in that scenario develop some kind of project that they're working on. We've also gone to the classroom and talk to the classroom, and that we try to do, set up a case study project that we can do within the framework of the time that they're there in the classroom. We also do project mentoring, where students who are working on a class project, that we can do some mentoring with them to be involved with that. And we've done that in partnership with like DECA students, for example. And so we've provided assistance there. And then really coming to the summer internship being, the longer term type of interaction that we have with the kids. So we're open to anything. I mean, we really, as a company a few years ago, and Nikki knows this, really decided to become much more external in how we operate. And so instead of just, coming to work and doing our jobs, we're really putting a focus on our entire team. We're a small company, we're 20 people, but for everybody to get involved and to really make this a priority to interact with students in any way that we can. And because we're small and we're pretty nimble, we can, we're open to any kind of an idea that we can do this. So that's some of the ways.
So I similar to what Anne does, we offer students the opportunity, if they want to come in and shadow current students who are in our program, which is, a wonderful thing that we offer as the Fischler Academy, but as a whole, NSU, for all students, if they are accepted into the university. And something that I think is really just a wonderful experience is it's called Shark Preview Weekend. And we host these all throughout the winter semester, for 12 weeks. So it's not a one-day kind of thing or one-shot deal. Like every week for 12 weeks, we have new groups of students coming in from all over the state of Florida, all over the country, and international as well. And they get the opportunity for from Thursday through Sunday, whenever they decide that they're going to fly out, to stay and live with a current NSU Shark, and have that opportunity to, they go to classes with them. For whatever the student is, kind of comfortable with, they welcome them into, what it's like being on campus. And so for me, I love that time of year because I'm able to look in and see, some of our, second, third year students, mentoring and working with those students who are not necessarily decided, but interested and looking for different opportunities. And so it just welcomes them into kind of the Shark family. And it's not a full-blown internship for high school students, but it gives them a taste that is beyond, a commercial. It gives them a real sense of, is this the right fit for me? As for our program, in the first year, students do a project called the Schooling Sharks Project, which It's one of our kind of early immersion opportunities featured in the program, and and it's continued to evolve. And so students can go in and work with teachers, and it was a great way to connect with our alumni in the area, which there's many alumni, not only in the Tri-County area, but all over the United States. And so it helps to bridge that gap where our alumni are reached out to, they work with our first year students. So there's that kind of, and the feedback that we receive from, our alumni are that sort of the passion, the energy, the excitement of first year, in college freshmen kind of charges them up and energizes them. It certainly energizes me. So I always tell people, if you're having a rough day, just come by and just be around the students for a little bit, and you'll start to feel that positivity and that energy that you're looking for. And so in that first year, students get the opportunity as a team to go out into the community and use a kind of work-based, project-based learning style to solve problems for educators throughout the Tri-County area. So we've really enjoyed that, and are always looking for new opportunities if any of the organizations, companies, or individuals want to partner with our program as well.
Very good. And actually, there was a question too. I wanted to ask this really quick in chat. It said, what age does a high school student have to be to take part in an internship? Does anybody know the answer to that here? Because I'm not sure of that answer, but I do know. I was going to say, for me personally, I didn't do an internship, but I think so far, one thing that hasn't been mentioned is volunteering opportunities. I know I personally volunteered ever since I can't even remember. My mom made me volunteer at like 12, 13, 14. I did that young. Everything from when I was, started really young, from simple things. I'd be at, 12 years old in the office, and she'd have me packing envelopes or whatever, working with other people in the office, to cleaning out closets and helping, hey, this secretary needs help with this, go have her do this. To by the time I was older, I had been volunteering for the city of West Palm Beach for so long that still as a volunteer, even before I started working there, getting paid. I was, running programs and putting together some major things, helping with different, when they had hurricane relief efforts and things like that. So even if the students don't have very formal internship opportunities, or maybe connections, like Randy was saying, to some of these major companies or partners, any student that is interested in a certain company or in an industry can always reach out and ask for volunteer opportunities and getting involved in that way. Because I think that's something we haven't mentioned so far, but for me, that was super critical. And for me, learning my personal skills, volunteering was like the number one thing that I did. And Natasha, I don't know if you had something to add to that. I'm sorry, I think you were about to say something.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say some of the things that we offer, just different opportunities to collaborate on campus. So we host information sessions. A lot of times students don't even know what's possible with their degrees. And so we kind of go and talk to them and share with them all that's possible, like within IT or within our power delivery group or different aspects of our company. We also do something like a tech talk on campus, as well as participate in hackathons or different campus events that are occurring. That way they can see us in their turf and ask questions in a much more kind of open and casual way. And it's been really great. And when we do have interns on site, we have a lot of other opportunities for them. They have the ability to intern within one of many groups. If they come in and they express an interest in another area, we will match them to a role that kind of suits their skills, needs, desires, as well as the businesses, right? And we also, upon graduating, have a leadership program where they can do, it's called Ignite. They can do 4 rotations in different fields within IT and kind of figure out where they want to land when they're done.
Very good. Yeah, and one thing I wanted to bring up too is, and I'm sure you guys probably all have, some input on this, but I think that so many times people, the students and the teachers and everybody else, even the college professors, and even like the different like career placement offices within the universities are always, I think, focused on the industry or skill for internships. But I wanted to get your opinion on maybe some other skills, because we always mention like soft skills, which I think are actually, they're not really soft skills, they're necessary skills. And sometimes depending on, the company and what they're doing, sometimes they're actually more important than the actual technical skill. But what is your opinion on what type of skills can the students expect to learn, both soft skills and hard skills? Like what can they expect to actually take away from those, whether it's a short, small, experience to a full internship? What are some of the things that they can expect?
I would think the experience that they'll get with an internship is going to be driven, I think, almost by the work culture of their partner, the principles that they have. When talking to an AWS employee yesterday we're establishing a pipeline for them, immediately starts off with their AWS principles. That's their driving force. Their 12 principles of being, customer driven is essential and important. But our matching process is different. We have like a showcase internship draft where the students presented their work. We invited our community partners who were interested in hosting students, and they spent the afternoon going through their work, their portfolios, having conversations, breaking bread together. And they were able to draft right then and there and see where the connections were best fit, instead of being form driven. We're looking at criteria as we put everybody together, and we had fun. And from there, folks walked away with internship jobs experiences, and some were experience driven at knowledge levels because there was an interest that was sparked, while others was more refinement, being focused on being customer driven.
Yeah, I think, Nikki, it's like you say, soft skills are just so important, I think, and it's a big thing for students today who, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's, we hear it all the time that because we're so into our digital world, that the ability to communicate with others is sort of just a bigger challenge. And so, just one of the exercises that we'll do with the kids when they come in is having them just practice their personal introductions, how to tell their own story. We had a couple kids in yesterday that we were doing that. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it's not. It was, hard for them, and, getting them to practice. And so all those types of soft skills are really, what we're going to try to work on when we've got them as part of their internship or any interaction that we're doing with them, is how to, as we talked at the top of the session here today, how to be able to sort of operate in the work environment. But then there are hard skills too, again, because we want them to be very experiential in everything that they're doing. So we have a summer intern, actually right after this call, is going to give his final presentation, but he came in and he interned last summer and was very much in the creative space of video and photography. But this year we wanted to expand and felt, even though he's in that space, it would be really important for him to understand the mediums that work is ultimately going to play in. So we got him Google certified, and he's setting up campaigns in Facebook and Instagram. So he's really kind of doing it that's outside his comfort zone, but he is learning those skills to be able to understand the full journey that a consumer is going to go through in the marketing space, from creation to delivery of the message. So, that's just a very current example that's on my mind today. But, we are really looking at both aspects of both soft and hard skills. And
yeah, and something you had, I was saying something you had mentioned to Anne, in the beginning was just that, you were talking about the students being able to do kind of like their self-pitch and introducing themselves. I think the students sometimes have to be reminded too, is just that, even adults aren't good at this.
No.
Adults literally take classes on how to give their own pitches, how to sell themselves, learning confidence, as adults, we're always taking these classes about how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a hard thing to learn, and adults still aren't good at it. But if you can start, when you're younger and putting yourself, like, that was one thing I have to give to my mother. As much as I've learned as I've gotten older, me and my mom always kind of butted heads, but it's because I'm actually just like her. But that was the one thing that she always did, is kind of pushed me into those situations with, like, I don't care if you're comfortable, get out there, learn it, talk to people, like, you're going to figure it out. And at the time I was like, God dang it. I was like, I don't want to do this. But now as an adult, it's made it so much more easier for me to actually talk to people. And even if I'm in an uncomfortable situation, just fake it till you make it. And, and that's definitely one skill that I've learned. And that's all through, like I was saying, the volunteering and just getting out there and kind of being pushed to be uncomfortable. So yeah, just, to remind the students, we're all not good at it. We all suck at that.
It's so funny, because one of the things that I've noticed with us as a company, that we're thinking that we're providing all these benefits to the students, but my gosh, they are providing so much to us. And we have benefited tremendously from interacting with these kids, and the, the different perspectives that they bring to things, and having my team step outside of their comfort zone to have to mentor, and it is a real win-win situation. So we're very excited to any opportunity that we get to be able to work with students.
Nikki, I'm glad you mentioned, sorry.
No, it's okay, go ahead.
Nikki, I'm glad that you mentioned the getting comfortable with discomfort. That's one of my mantras, and one of the ones that for our student employees or at the university that I'm constantly saying to them, as well as the teacher candidates as well. We have an internship that's already built into the program for any state approved education program. They're going to have that internship. In our case, it's a 3-month internship full time, where they're working. Employees who work for me, something that I think is a strength of a lot of universities do this, and certainly it's a strength of NSU, is creating opportunities for students. So just to give you an example, I have a student last year. She was in her first year of the program, asked if we could meet, and just she had an idea and wanted to discuss it. And really her idea was creating a new federal work study position where she would be able to welcome incoming freshmen, develop different experiences for them to try to make that transition as smooth as possible. Needless to say, she had this idea prior to everything that's happened the last 4 months, and we're still full steam ahead. She has tons of creative ideas as to, keep the ball rolling, keep students feeling connected and comfortable and engaged. And this was an idea she came to me with, and it wasn't just written down on a napkin. She had, a presentation ready to go for me. She had all these different, kind of like a business plan in place. And what it does is, I think, with certainly some of the issues that some students may have with promoting themselves, they can learn a lot from their peers who do have those skills. And so what she's now doing and putting herself out there is really inviting other students, whether they're freshmen or potential recruits who are in high school, who are going to be interacting and meeting her during Shark Preview weekends, inviting them to see that, look, you don't have to be a seasoned professional to demonstrate that level of professionalism, that it's a thing like anything. It's practiced and takes time. But like you said, nobody I know is naturally good at it. And unless there's some boss baby walking around somewhere with a suit on that I'm not aware of. But I think it's something we have to constantly work on.
Agreed. And I was actually going to see at this point, Randy, was it Alyssa that's on with us today? Alyssa, could I call on you? Are you comfortable with that if I ask you a quick question?
And Shamara's here too.
And Shamara, yes, I wanted to hear from you all, having gone through some of these programs and work-based learning opportunities. Can you tell us, like, as a student, from your point of view, like, what have you learned? What have you gotten out of this that you think you couldn't have, like, in the classroom setting?
So the program that I went through, we started in 9th grade, and we would learn different skills throughout the year. And at the end of the year, we would usually have a competition from which we were able to showcase those skills that we learned, usually with a financial incentive. And basically throughout the 3 years of your first 3 years of high school, we were building a portfolio and a resume. And then our last year, which is our senior year, we had a showcase at the end of the year, which is what Mr. Deich was talking about. Basically, he spent the whole senior year networking with local companies, and we were able, basically it was like a giant conference, I would kind of put it like, throughout the year, the showcase, and we were able to just present ourselves and what we had learned and done throughout those past 3 years. But it wasn't as if they were just, throwing us into cold water throughout the previous 3 years. Like you guys mentioned before, not only did we learn, technical skills like coding and whatnot, we did have certain days where we focused just on, presentation, business etiquette, how to present yourself, make yourself look good, and stuff like that. My sister and I, we were actually able to get 2 internships at the end of at the beginning of our senior year.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations on that. Sounds like you're doing a great job too, Randy. I did want to ask, because we just have a couple minutes here. So for the sake of time, because I never get through all the questions that I have, I always wish we had more time. But one of the questions I did want to ask is just for the teachers themselves, or even the students, what's a way to know what's an actual good opportunity? So what are some of the elements of like a quality work-based learning program? Like what can people look for?
I think a meaningful assignment, right? I have actually worked at companies many, many years ago, and they didn't have a plan for their interns. They would just come, and a lot of them would end up filing or doing grunt work. And these were, students that were entering college. So I think it's really important to find a company that takes it seriously, that thinks about what your assignment or group or skills that you intend an intern to learn about, and make sure that they have a variety of learning opportunities, access to leadership and open dialogues just about career paths and learning. I think those are probably some of the best in practice.
Yeah, I think if you have that, everything else will sort of fall into place. Give them something that they can own as much as they can, and that it's really well thought out, and that the company is prepared. And if students have an opportunity to ask others that have gone through a program or have worked at a company to search those out and hear what their experiences were. And that's where even I think teachers, their role in helping students with internships can also facilitate that.
I think another telltale sign of a quality program is how easy it is to get in contact with somebody who, directs something like that. If there's just an email address that's a general email address connected to whatever the program or project is, there's no, direct connection to somebody who's not only taking responsibility for it as part of, what they do, but energized about it out front. Then, because we go back to the quality of relationships and relationship building. And really that's what that experience should feel like. It should feel like, you've got an opportunity to work with some professionals and people who are willing to open their door and not just say they're opening their door. And like you said earlier, having them just file all day, which I did plenty of that. But bringing them along through some, challenging experiences, but then also, really driving home that sense of willing and wanting to be a mentor.
And I think Luke nailed it. It's the company's willing to start a relationship. That it's not, they're just not interested in providing skills to our students, but they also have the habit of mind that this is their own future workforce, that they're starting to invest in the students at the high school level and putting it on the front end instead of the back end of once hired, they're trying to figure out if they're going to maintain a position after the probationary period. So looking for the companies that see this as an investment, and the professionals that want to pass on a legacy.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you there, Randy, because I know, I'm glad we actually have Natasha on here, because I know FPL, when I first started Palm Beach Tech, when I went there, they were telling me of a story of actually a student that started working there as an intern and actually helped the company either save or make so much money and ended up becoming an employee and so on. So I think, that can happen, but which is obviously the best case scenario of actually getting a job where you're interning. But I think also just, for the students and teachers that are on here is just to know that, like, I think the most important thing with any opportunities with mentorship, volunteering, internships is just to know that more than likely that's not the scenario that's going to happen. You're more than likely not going to get a job with the people that you're interning with. It's really the more the experience and what you take away from it and the skills that you're learning. And even if it's something that is completely like, oh my God, I would never work for a company like this, I hate it. Some people do worry about that. I know I've talked a couple times with students at different colleges or universities local that have said, like, I don't know if I want to get an internship. I don't know what type of industry to try to go after. I don't know what type of internship that I should try. I don't even know what I want to do yet when I graduate. But I think that's the whole point, is take anything that you can get, take any opportunity, because that may actually help you not necessarily find exactly what you want, but find maybe weeding out what I don't want, or the skills, seeing what skills I do have strengths with and I do not have strengths with. I think any of the opportunities, if they're organized well, and like, the panelists had mentioned, have an actual project or something to work on, that in my opinion, I don't think it could be a bad experience, just because even if it is, you're learning something from that. You're taking away, just learning that, hey, this is not something I want to do, or I'm not good at this skill, or I do have this skill, and so on. Just for, again, because we're right at time, I just wanted to give each of our panelists, or even the students that are on with us today, does anybody have any just last minute words for any of the students or teachers, kind of what they can take away from this, if there's one thing that they would remember from today?
Oh, everything. I don't know, just seize the opportunity. There are a lot of businesses and companies in this market that want to work with you, want to provide opportunities for you. So reach out, explore, and just really seize the opportunity in any way that you can. I think you will be surprised to find how many people want to help you and provide opportunities.
I would say if you're a teacher, finding ways to integrate those soft skills, in project-based learning, and not being afraid to get messy. I know sometimes I go back to my, classroom management and everything being very overly structured, where that's not really how learning works. Like you said, Nikki, the internships that don't work out so well, honestly, I think we learn just as much, if not more, from those as we do from the really great ones. And so for teachers to, try to work with their students to create opportunities for them to get messy through the learning process and to try out new things, and that those soft skills will translate and make them wonderful candidates for various internships or future career opportunities.
I think for our teachers, be mindful of the school targets, but focus on your students and their needs after they leave you. And they may not be the same thing.
I would say also encourage them to have a questioning mindset. They don't need to have the answers to everything. They just have to be willing to learn and kind of maybe come out of a comfort zone, of where they feel like their knowledge exists. And that sort of willingness to learn something new is paramount, I think, to their success in life. So questioning mindset's really important.
Thank you, Natasha. And actually, just as you guys were talking, drop that in chat. I think that's a perfect way to kind of wrap this all up, is just a reminder to make room for the mess, being okay with failure. Failure teaches us just as much as successes do. And then, like you said, being very inquisitive, always asking questions, always asking why. I think those are super important. So I wanted to thank everybody again, all of our panelists, the students. Thank you guys for coming on, all the teachers and all the hard work that you guys are doing. I know right now is very different for you all, and you guys are doing your best to, especially now during the remote learning, trying to figure that all out. So I just want to say thank you. And again, Tony and Allie for putting all this together. You know, this actually worked out much better than we thought it did. It started as a small idea a few weeks ago and turned into a whole webinar series. So very proud of you guys, and thank you so much again for being partners with us.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Great as always.
Take care. Thank you.